Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. We have an amazing show for everybody today. Ryan, thank you so much for filling in for Crystal.
Always a pleasure.
Of course. Well, the audience loves you, so it's perfect. All right, so we've got an amazing show. This is Virginia Delegate Lee Carter. He's going to talk a little bit about what's going on in that state and whether the Democratic Party is really living up to what they promised. We've got some College Pulse exclusive data here about their latest tracking poll. That's going to be interesting. And then Dave Jamieson from the Huffington Post, he's going to talk all things labor leading up to the Nevada caucuses. But before we get to that, Ryan, this is a story that you initially broke, but apparently it's happened again, is Pete Buttigieg has faked black endorsements yet again. What is going on here?
So I was talking to somebody who works for a rival campaign last night, and they said, this is the type of mistake, and let's be generous and call it a mistake just for now. We can get into that later.
Yeah.
This is the type of mistake you make once in your career, and then you are petrified about it happening ever again, and you do everything in your power to make sure that it doesn't. The precise mistake is claiming publicly that X-black person has endorsed your campaign or is partnering with your campaign when they have either explicitly told you that they are not doing that, or they have never told you that they are. This latest one is just incredible. And there are a lot of examples that ABC has, but the most devastating are these black small business owners in South Carolina who the campaign called up and said, hey, we'd like to come by for lunch. Is that cool?
Okay.
And great.
Yeah.
We are a restaurant. We serve food. We exchange food for money.
Yeah.
You're welcome to do that.
To come.
And so 6-8 people, one came and spent $90 on lunch for a group that included mostly Buttigieg staffers. And then the woman, Diane, it's Diane's Kitchen, sees in the newspaper that she's now a partner with the Buttigieg campaign.
Oh my gosh.
And so ABC News calls Diane. Diane says, I'm not a partner. So then ABC News calls the Buttigieg campaign. Buttigieg campaign starts emailing Diane and calling Diane, trying to get her to tell ABC that, oh, yeah, I absolutely am a partner. She then shares the email exchanges with ABC. They spell her name wrong. They call her Diana. And eventually they agree on a statement that says that basically that the staff ate lunch at the restaurant. But there's a bunch of examples of this.
Well, so Ryan, here's the crazy thing, and I tweeted this. It was basically like, I think this only happened because nobody paid attention to your original story about the Douglas plan. I mean, like you said, a lot of people online cared, but on cable news, they ask a question about it at the debate, and Kamala Harris doesn't even take the opportunity to do this. So I think what the Buttigieg campaign learned, basically, is you can fake black endorsements, and nobody's really going to care. And
the Buttigieg campaign kind of snuck out of that last one by focusing on their Kenyan stock photo snafu, which I didn't even include in my original story because it was just kind of a ha-ha, isn't this funny? But when I tweeted about it, that went viral. So their Douglas plan for Black America, which they named after Frederick Douglass without his permission, but included a stock photo of a woman from Kenya. And so they apologized, they took it down, and they replaced it with another photo, and the New York Times wrote about the Kenyan stock photo. Wow. The Washington Post wrote about the Kenyan stock photo. And when Kamala Harris was asked about it, she was asked about the Kenyan stock photo, not that they had named black leaders in South Carolina as endorsers of this plan when they had said they weren't. And so here they are. They did it again. This is
the same thing, which is that they're like, hey, they are tangentially connected in some way. In no way are they like, people are like, I support you. And then they go out and they're like, yeah, we're a partner. This is somebody who's endorsed me. I mean, and that's the thing, it's basically the same playbook of unless you object, they're not going to do anything about it. And that's insane. I mean, it's crazy. Have they offered any explanation as to how this happened?
Well, they refer to it as a miscommunication.
Right.
Ivory Thigpen, who's a state representative in South Carolina and who was in my original article, is quoted again in the ABC article, saying that they did indeed send him an email that said, if you do not opt out by 4 p.m., that you'll be an author of this op-ed endorsing this plan. He missed the email. Yeah. Boom. He's Pete Buttigieg endorser. He is a co-chair of the Bernie Sanders campaign in South Carolina. But let's go back to what we were talking about earlier about this. The story refers to it as a mix-up and a miscommunication. I'd be curious if that was the language that the reporters wanted to use, the editors wanted to use, or however. mix-up is awfully generous here. Try to imagine a candidate, a Pete Buttigieg, doing this to white small business owners in Iowa or New Hampshire, or doing this to white state representatives in any of those states. And not just doing it once, but then doing it again. It is impossible to conceive of that happening.
Yeah, it's so disgraceful. And it's interesting. I had seen a black woman who had gone to a Buttigieg campaign event, I think in Iowa or New Hampshire, and she was told that she was explicitly moved around to be included in photos, like with Pete Buttigieg. And it just goes to show, I mean, how manufactured and cynical the campaign is in order to, so disgustingly just tokenize its own supporters, and then in order to fake endorsements, all for a media narrative. And the best part, Ryan, how's this polling doing with black Americans? Terrible.
Yeah, he said the whole time that as soon as the black Americans get to know him, it wasn't that they didn't support him. They just don't know him. Then you'd be like, well, what about South Bend black population? They're rather familiar with you, and approval rating there is not any better than it is in South Carolina. Now they've heard of him, and he's still at around 4%, and this is not going to help. My story came out a couple months ago. The time blends together for me. I can't remember. But now this is coming out leading into South Carolina as if he needed any more problems with the black vote there.
Yeah, well, it's going to be funny and interesting to watch. All right, I'm going to tell you what's on my radar. That's next.